Hi everyone, this is HM&S video number 60 and you are most welcome for it. Today we want to look at one of the least used logical function in Excel called the XOR function. Now the XOR function is less used but very important on certain situations that we are going to see in this video. Let's switch on to Excel and we dive deeper into how to use XOR function. Also, in order for us to understand the XOR function, let's first see the function arguments for the XOR function. So I'm going to click on this cell and do equals to XOR. When I see it highlighted in blue, I can either double click to select it or hit tab to select it. Now the XOR function, just like the OR function that we saw last video, just needs logical test. You can give it logical test 1, logical test 2, comma, logical test 3, comma, logical test 4, and it goes on like that. So you can give it as many logical tests as you have. So each of these logical tests can come out either true or false. So that means you can have many true and falses inside the XOR function. Now that we have already seen the function arguments for the XOR function, let's look at these small notes here. The XOR function is sometimes called exclusive OR, and this is how it works. If you have two logical tests that you need to do, the XOR function returns true only if one logical test come out true. If both of the logical tests come out true or both of the logical tests come out false, then the XOR function returns false. If you have more than two logical tests that you need to do, the XOR function returns true if the number of logical tests that come out true are odd. But if the number of logical tests that come out true are even, then the XOR function returns false. Now, in order for us to understand XOR function very well, let's scroll down and we see an example. Now here we have this table showing some members, the status for lunch and the status for dinner. Now what we want to do, we want to come to this column and then we identify those who ate only one meal. For example, Elizabeth ate lunch and also ate dinner, and then Joan did not eat lunch but ate dinner. So for supper, we want only those people who ate only one meal to eat supper. For those people who did not eat completely, that means they came late. And for those people who ate all the 2 meals, we are not giving them supper. So we want to use the XOR function to identify for us those who ate only one meal. So I'm going to click on this cell, click, and then do equals to XOR. When I see it highlighted in blue, I'm going to hit tab to select it. Now for logical test 1 argument, we are going to ask, is the status for lunch, click, equals to yes. Now anytime you are putting a text in a formula, you need to put it in double quotes. So open quotation and type yes, and then close quotation. Now this is our first logical test. So I'm going to type comma to go to logical test 2 argument. Now for logical 2 argument, I'm going to ask the second question, is your status for dinner, click, equals to yes. So open quotation and type yes, and then close quotation. Now this is all we need because we have only 2 logical tests that we are doing. I'm going to close my bracket. So when I control enter and then I copy my formula down, you can see we are getting true and falses. Now for those people who ate lunch and dinner, we are getting false. And those one who did not eat lunch and did not eat dinner, we are also getting false. It's only those people who ate only one meal that we are getting true for them. Now if you wanted to also say yes and no, like the one for lunch and dinner, you can use the if function and the XOR function to accomplish that. Now here, the entire XOR function, exactly like the way we have done it here, I've put it on the logical test argument for the if function. Now since we have already seen it from here that it returns either true or false, it's also going to return either true or false for the logical test argument of the if function. Now if the value comes out true, on the value if true argument of the if function, I've put there yes in double quotes. Now if this XOR function delivered false to the logical test argument of the if function, then on the value if false argument, this one here, I've put there no in double quotes. So by combining the if function and the XOR function like this, when I control enter and then I double click to copy my formula down, you can see we are getting no and yes. No for false, and then yes for true. Now let's scroll down and we see our last example. On this example, we have 4 voting sessions. On each session, you can vote using a tick if you are voting for the CEO, and vote using a cross if you are not voting for the CEO. On this table here, I've used the word tick for the tick and then cross for the cross. Now what we are interested on, we are interested on only those who voted both for the CEO and against the CEO. Now if you unanimously voted for the CEO in all the 4 sessions, we are not interested in you. And also if you unanimously did not vote for the CEO in all the 4 sessions, we are also not interested in you. And also if your result is a tie, 2 for the CEO and 2 against the CEO, we are also not interested in you. So we are going to come to this column here, and then we identify those people using the XOR function. So let's click on this cell and do equals to XOR. When I see it highlighted in blue, I'm going to hit tab to select it. Now for logical test 1, we are going to ask the same question. The first session, click, are you equals to tick? So I'm going to open quotation and type there tick and then close quotation. Now comma to go to logical 2 argument. We're going to ask the same question for all the sessions. So for logical 2 argument, we're going to ask second session, click, are you equals to open quotation tick close quotation, comma to go to logical 3 argument. We're going to ask third session, click, are you equals to open quotation tick close quotation. Now comma to go to logical 4 argument. We're going to ask the same question for the last session. First session, click, are you equals to open quotation tick then close quotation. Now when I close my bracket, this is all we need. So when I control enter and then I double click to copy my formula down, you can see we are getting true and falses. Now where the person unanimously voted for the CEO, like for example for the case of Joan here, we got false. And also where the person unanimously did not vote for the CEO, like for the case of Leo here, we also got false. Now if you remember the notes we saw at the beginning of the video, it says if you are doing more than 1 logical test, like for our case here we did 4, if the number of logical tests that come out true is odd, then the XOR function will deliver for you true. But if the number of logical tests that come out true is even, then the XOR function will deliver for you false. Like for our case here, we have take care, which is true, take care, which is true, and then take care, which is true. Those are series true, and series is an odd number. That's why we have true here. Now for the case of Peter, we have false, true, false, true. We have 2 true, and 2 is an even number. That's why we have false here. Yeah, that is it for this particular video. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you found this video interesting, give it a like and then you share it with your friends. This is a video where we talked about how to use the OR function in Excel. You can click on it, then you go and watch it. Until next video, HM&S video number 61, then we meet again. Thank you.